Yo, what is going on today, guys? I am back here for another video. So it is going to be EX tier list season once again. Been 6 days since the set, dude, and I think we kind of know all the positions of the new EX Pokemon. So I wanted to give an updated list. So how this is going to work, we have the categories. We have top tier, bro, which is just the best of the best. I think we already know who's going in there, I'm not gonna lie. We have S top tier, we have A high tier, B mid tier, C low tier, D, which is like rogue, which is like not like low tier. You do see low tier decks, but like D rogue is like you don't really see them. You might see them like maybe like 1 in like 400 games, especially in Mastery Ball, but like they're technically not like unplayable. It's just like they don't have like everything going for them, especially in this meta. So, or they're kind of like niche picks that like can like be like certain top tier decks. Then we just have like not bad but not played, and then we just have like bad, which is going to be stuff like for example Lapras EX. So honestly, we have a lot of cards that are just like not bad slash like not played, and I'm basically just gonna do a speed run round and basically put them all in here just to save everyone like 10-15 minutes and 20 times. And once they're all in that category, I could just like explain like briefly, like go over like all of them. Okay, I think that is every single card that I'm going to put into these categories. Actually, there's like one more that like low-key could be, but like maybe I'll put it in later, bro. But for now, like for example, like Venusaur, too much energy, bro. You would like low-key like want to play it with like Superior or Leafy on Superiors, like you know you need to get the rare candy, so that's like extra bricky. Even like when Venusaur isn't like gonna be like in those one shots anyways. Plus, you know, if you run Leafy on Venusaur, you can't really knock out Oricorio. Starmie doesn't really have a deck to be played in. Gengar. It's like basically all these cards, like they're technically not like super. They're technically not like extremely unplayable slash bad. It's just like there's so many things that just like do these guys' jobs better, which is why you really don't see them getting played. But then these bad ones are just like simply bad cards. Like Machamp like could technically be not bad, but like 3 energy for 120, I mean, dude, just go play Solgaleo. Just go play Solgaleo. And so yeah, so like these cards are just like not meta relevant. I've talked about them so many times in tier lists, and they just take up so much time. And I'd rather not make you guys have to like go through like 20 extra minutes just talking about these cards that are just like not meta relevant. So if you kind of want to know my thoughts and opinions, you could like check out older EX tier list videos, because like to be honest, most of these cards' opinions haven't changed. I will go over the new ones though, so I will go over to the new ones. So we have Muck, and it's 80 damage for 3 energy, and every time you attack, you do like a random status condition. To be honest, we don't really have a dark ramp up card, and committing 3 energy to a stage 1 with 160, and that's only going to do 80 damage and gives you like a random status condition, especially when the most played decks right now are Giratina and Snorlax, and they both play Pokemon Center Lady. I just don't really think it's worth the commitment. We have the monkey Possiman, or whatever the card's name is, bro. But 2 energy, 1 fighting, 1 colorless, and then when it is knocked out, you transfer all the fighting energy to something in the back. So it's a cool thing that could get played with like Lucario or EX, but like at the same time, like sometimes like if you go first, there is a possibility that you could like, I don't know, like maybe like lose this before, and like it's only doing 60 damage for 2, so you're basically hard relying on whatever you're charging up in the back. And then sometimes like I don't know, just sometimes it's just not super good. Like there's not a lot of good fighting types. Like the best one is like, you don't have to pair to fighting types, it could be on anything. But even with the colorless options, like there's just like so many better cards you could play, like such as like Dialga over this card if you really wanted to ramp up 2 energy in the back. Then for the other new card, we have Rayquaza EX. So Rayquaza EX basically is just a worse Rug Trio because it's 4 energy. Like it is a stage 1, but 40 damage is not really going to be doing a lot of damage. I'm going to be honest, like 40 is just not good. The actual 10 less is actually such a huge impact, because like Rug Trio could like do 100 damage on something and actually knock it out. Whereas like sometimes like an 80 which just will not, like for example like an 80 onto Lucario, it's not going to get the KO that you might need. So I think Rayquaza is just already power crap. Plus it is, you know, it's a promo pack card, and those are notoriously just kind of like poor designed. And for the last new one, we have Delmise. So Delmise is a basic for 3 energy, and you do trap the opponent in for 80. It's just not good, dude. I mean, you're trapping them in, but you take 3 turns. I bet you they want you to play with like Rare Candy Superior. Just a lot of things have to go right, and that's just not the best deck overall, because like you trap something in, only have 140 HP. Like most of these meta decks, like I don't know, man, they're just gonna knock you out anyways. I just don't think it's good. I really just think it's like poorly designed. I just think 3 energy for 80 damage is, and for like maybe if it had like a better ability, or if it was 2 energy for 60, I think Delmas Loki would be cracked. I think the 3, like the extra 1, bro, is what pushes it over, because like I don't know, man, like 2 retreat costs also 140 HP. It's just like so many things not going right for it, so that's why I just don't think it's that good, personally. Yeah, so next up, let's just talk about the top 2 real quick. I mean, I think it should be very obvious. So we have Giratina. So Giratina still ramps itself up. It's splashable in so many decks. We're seeing Snorlax Giratina, we're seeing Oricorio Giratina. Basically, bro, anything that, because why not just slot a Giratina in it, to be honest, dude. Like, ramps itself up, does 130 damage. It's like, like I said, ramps itself up. There's not much to say. It's splashable in almost any deck. It's played in the best deck, which is Darkrai Giratina for the 2nd season. So that is something going for it. And yeah, that's just what it is. And then for the second card, it should be his partner in crime, which is Darkrai. Another card that is very splashable in these like decks that don't need to play like anything but dark, because Giratina ramps itself up. You can play Dark Energy Pure. Darkrai is also even seen in Arceus Crobat, which is very strong. And back in the day, dude, we had Magnezone Darkrai, we had Greninja Darkrai. Darkrai since release, it had like a little bit of a fall off back in the Arceus era, but ever since the Arceus era is gone, and with the introduction to Giratina, these have been the uncontested top 2. Basically, the ability to chip your opponent for 20 damage every single turn on a basic, just by putting energy on it. So you're going to be putting the energy anyways on it to be able to attack. It's just very strong, letting Giratina do 150 damage in 1 turn. Obviously with the chip and then Giratina attacking, it's just one of the most broken cards that is in the game. And like I said, I think personally these are the uncontested top 2. So now for some like rogue options, dude, we have like Celebi EX. So I think Celebi EX went from like unplayable to playable with the addition of the Leaf Cape, letting Celebi go to 160 HP was actually such a huge improvement. But the downside of Celebi is the deck you really want to play Celebi in is Leafeon Celebi, and that deck hard, and I mean hard, loses to Oricorio, which is a meta staple card that is now everywhere. I mean, Darkrai Giratina decks are slotting one in a very obnoxious, like low-key. I think that's just so, like, I like Oricorio as a concept, but I think once like Darkrai Giratina is just slotting that in its deck and it makes that deck even stronger, that's when I think Oricorio is actually extremely annoying. And then you have like these Oricorio focused decks with like Greninja, for example. So simple as that, dude. I think the deck can fine. Like, I don't think it's the best of the best, but I think it low-key could have competed if Oricorio didn't exist. And that's why I'm gonna put it in Rogue, because like if you don't run into the deck, I think the deck can do fine with Leafeon, which I will also put in Rogue next to it, because you know it's like they're played together, ramps it up. But like I said, bro, Oricorio just like hard walls this deck. The only way to beat it is to play the Esports Eevee, the one that flips coins until you land Tails, and honestly just land like 5 heads on it. That's like the only way to beat Oricorio. And then you probably just lose your Eevee after that, and you simply lose the game. So you would have to like slot in something that's like a non-EX, so you would low-key like play like, I guess, like Superior with the rare candy, but that's just like low-key taking up more deck space. It's making Pokemon communication less consistent for the Leafeon. And even like Superior, dude, like Superior only does 60 damage. It doesn't actually one-shot the Oricorio. So I don't know what you would play to beat the Oricorio, but there's just like a lot of things. Like, I guess you would probably like just maybe saw it in like the Alolan, not Alolan Executor, but the Executor from Mythical Island. I guess you could tech that in to beat the Oricorio, but like at the same time, that's like still not the best deck, I don't think, especially when the meta yeah, you basically like force a slot in something you kind of like didn't want to slot in. So that's why I think it's a rogue option. I think you might see them like occasionally, especially like in the lower tiers. In Master Ball, probably not, because everybody's a sheep and just plays the top 3 decks. But maybe in like Ultra Ball and like Great Ball, you might be seeing this deck. Next up we have Aerodactyl EX, which I'm gonna put as another rogue option. So I've been seeing some Rampardos decks playing Aerodactyl, and the reason I'm putting it in rogue is kind of like similar to Celebi. I think it can be strong if you're playing those rare candy decks, but like I'm gonna be honest, as of yesterday and the day, nobody is really playing rare candy decks anymore in ranked, at least in Master Ball. And I faced like almost 99% Starlax Giratina, and Darkrai Giratina, and the only card that evolves in those decks literally are the Greninjas on the back. So Aerodactyl like theoretically could be super strong into these rare candy decks, but like everyone is really just playing these basic EX once again, or like basic decks once again that don't have evolutions. Like in like the decks that do have evolutions, like such as like Starlax, Greninja, they evolve on the bench, so Aerodactyl is just like not really the most useful. So I think it was good like the first couple of days when everyone was playing these rare candy decks, but now that everyone is just playing like Giratina, Darkrai, Snorlax, Giratina, Greninja with like red cards and Mars, Aerodactyl just really doesn't get the job done anymore. So that's why I'm going to put it in Rogue, because you might see it here and there, but it might not be too common going forward. Next up we have the Pikachu EX that does 150 damage. This is also going to be another Rogue card. Initially, I saw a lot of people putting this card in the Oricorio decks, you know, as like a 150 attacker that eventually can happen. But no one's really playing electric cards of Oricorio. The only electric card that is being played with Oricorio is Magnezone. So you have Oricorio and Magnezone, and that's it. Or you have like Greninja Oricorio. So no one's really playing Pikachu EX anymore. You might run into an Oricorio deck that is playing Pikachu EX, but for the most part they don't play it anymore, because like starting a Pikachu EX is not that good. Plus it is an EX that is very, very fragile, so it is a very easy like just 2 free points for your opponent if you don't win the game using Pikachu. So especially with like the Greninjas now too, you just get your like Pikachu Greninja in Cyrus, and then boom, you just lose the game because of that. So I think that's just the reason I don't think Pikachu EX is the best. But you might see it in the Oricorio variants like here and there, so I will at least put it in Rogue and give it some respect. So next up, one of the new cards as well is going to be Solgaleo. So I think Solgaleo is a solid high tier card. So it is very aggressive, 120 damage if you do go second. And I'm going to be honest, dude. I'm going to be 100% honest. In ranked specific, by the way, this tier list is for ranked. I'm not going to, because tournament's like a little bit different because it is a best of 3. This is for ranked. In ranked environment, I don't think there's another Esther card. I really don't think there's an Esther card that is not Giratina Darkrai. I don't think any deck come close to matching the consistency and the strength of that deck. Yes, it is not. No, you know what? I was going to say it's not the most dominated. It definitely is. It's literally the best deck. It is this and Snorlax Giratina. And Snorlax is not an EX, so Snorlax can't go in S tier. But I really do not think that there is another deck that comes close to the power level of these two decks, or those two cards. I think this deck is like low, like honestly bro, in ranked I literally just use the Darkrai Giratina at the top. Like yes, you have those Stoke Charizard decks that can beat it, but they saw it in an Oricorio, so you have a rough time. Then you actually have to get the Stoke Charizard on like the first or second turn, or you kind of just lose. So I really don't think there's going to be another S tier, top tier EX card, but like maybe as I'm going along I might put one in there. But Solgaleo can swap in for free for 2, and it has 2 energy to attack for 120. 180 HP, but you do damage yourself when you attack, which is like the one low downside, but it's only 10 damage, so it's like not the most impactful, but it definitely can be in certain matchups. Solgaleo is usually played with either Skarmory, Drillbur, or not Drillbur, but Excadrill or the Escavalier. So either Skarmory for the tool packages or like the stage 1 Pokemon. So they have those to take care of Oricorio. But I'm not gonna lie, if your opponent can knock those out and still keep an Oricorio, maybe if they're playing 2 of them, you're basically going to auto lose, because Cosmog and Cosmoan both have attacks that don't do damage. So if your opponent can actually, well, if your opponent could like dodge and like you break and you don't go into your non-EX cards, or if your opponent has like 2 Oricorios and they are able to use something to knock out the other 2, you basically just auto lose to Oricorio, which is why I'm going to put it at a high tier, because I feel like that definitely can be a struggle depending on like certain scenarios. But like I said, I think Solgaleo is still super strong. I just think Darkrai Giratina is just that deck, so I don't want to even put anything close to S tier. I don't want to give you guys like a false like representation of how strong these cards are. Like I said, if Darkrai Giratina didn't exist, bro, this deck would probably be S tier. But the fact that Darkrai Giratina exists and it's a stage 2, so you need the rare candy, is the reason it's going to be an A tier. Okay, yeah, so we have Solgaleo as our first A2 card, and then going on to the next card. So I'm actually going to make a category. I'm going to make a B+ just because I don't think it's A, and I don't believe it's B. It's the card I played around the most, and it is going to be, once I just type it in, don't mind me, it is going to be Decidueye EX. So I think Decidueye EX is actually pretty strong. I mean, the ability to, I mean, the ability to just snipe 100 damage into the bench, which basically means your opponent can never retreat if the Decidueye is still going to be alive, is a really big threat. So what are the downsides of the Decidueye EX? So the downsides are obviously the EX. It's I would say can be kind of bad into Oricorio because you're going to be reliant on the Masqueradas, and unless you're running a Geo, the Masqueradas actually cannot one-shot the Oricorio. And it's a stage 2. In this meta, double red card, double Mars is a thing, so sometimes you just get very bad, and like, especially with like the Decidueye, like you're one of those cards where you really do want to get it early, because you're not going to be like one of those cards such as like Giratina, for example. Giratina is going to be doing 130 damage with the combinations of Darkrai or Red. That's 150. That's a lot of damage. Or even stuff like Stoke Charizard. Decidueye max damage in 2 turns is going to be 180, which is nice. But with everyone running like Pokemon Center Ladies, Iridas, and Potions, sometimes you don't get that 2-shot. So like the Decidueye sometimes just can't get that final KO that you might need, like, or like expect from like a stage 2 Pokemon. So I think it's very strong. I just don't think it's the top of the top, like as simple as that, because you usually play it with Masquerada. Masquerada is very good into the meta, but at the same time, like I said, the Decidueye is super strong. It's just like it's not getting those one shots that you really want from an EX Pokemon. And yeah, I don't know what else to say, bro. Like, it's 80 damage and then 100 damage. Can snipe the bench. I mean, that, like, it's like everything. There's like it's the only downside, bro, is like it gets like very. It loses the red card because the deck you're playing it in is going to be 2 stage 2s. It's just the best variant, so loses really hard the red card Mars. Doesn't one-shot when it does come in. So if you do get those red card Mars, and then they knock out the Spigaritos, and all you're left with is the Decidueye. The Decidueye sometimes just can't solo the game, and that is it. So it's just unfortunate that, like, maybe in the future, bro. Like, I'm not saying the Decidueye is bad. The B+ is a very high placement, by the way. It's just, like I said, not the best of the best. Maybe if we ever get like a basic grass type that's super good, and you play like the basic plus Decidueye, and you actually have like a good like early game, whereas like Masquerada and Decidueye are both like kind of like setup cards. You have to get the rare candies in the stage 2s. Maybe Decidueye could definitely just incredibly increase, but because, like I said, the deck is just 2 stage 2 Pokemon, I'm gonna put it in B+. I just don't think it's as strong as Solgaleo, because Solgaleo has the amazing partner of Skarmory, or Spigarito does take, or Masqueradas does like take a little bit to get set up, and you can't easily lose to those red cards. You know what, dude, some more options, I guess, in bad but not played. We have Glaceon. Honestly, 100 damage is just kind of not enough, especially with the rare candy. You could basically just play like something like, let's see, like Beedrill instead. Obviously you need the rare candy and the evolution, but I don't know, it's just like Glaceon. Like I said, bro, some of these cards, I definitely think in the bad but not played, I definitely think some of these cards, like I feel like Glaceon, Lucario EX, and then stuff like, even like Starmie, Venusaur, like Miss Magus, I think these are better than some of the other cards in this, like in this area. But these cards are simply just not played. And, it's very unfortunate because some of these are cool. Like I won a tournament of Glaceon. I love Glaceon. Fortunately, in like the meta, bro, like 3 energy for 90 damage, it's just kind of like not enough. And the 140 HP, dude, it's just everything kind of just like goes bad for it. Next up though, for another A2 card, dude, Incineroar, extremely powerful with this rare candy. Obviously, good thing about Incineroar though is it has both Blitzen and Torracat being 30 damage and then 40 damage. So going first, if they have a 60 HP grass type, you could knock it out of evolving into Torracat. Or if you go second and they have like a 50 HP grass type in the active, Blitzen can get that knockout. And then if you actually do have the rare candy, Incineroar has a 1 energy attack, so you can start doing that for 50 damage plus the burn if the burn does stay. Yeah, then it has 3 energy for 140 damage as long as you have damage taken on Incineroar, which is pretty common, you know, as both Blitzen and Torracat does damage to itself when they attack. Yeah, so basically it's just one of those very aggressive cards. A lot of people are just really teching it into the Stoke Charizard engine. I've seen some builds like I have played, like I've seen the dude, what is it, bro, the volcano Pokemon, Turtonator. I've seen some people playing the Turtonator and Incineroar build, which I don't think is as strong as the Charizard one. but it's still definitely strong if you can get like turn 1 Turtonator. But yeah, it's just a very strong like fast offensive card if you have the rare candy. And like even like late game, like 180 HP is pretty tanky. Like you could like tank a hit, like attack, and then you could like do the 140 damage back. So like I don't know, it's just like fire like have like a pretty like a pretty decent, like fire has like some pretty decent cards right now like for the meta. And yeah, it's just really strong, dude. Like it's just generally just strong, you know. Being able to like actually attack when you rare candy for only 1 energy just makes it one of those like very strong turn 1 cards, like similar to like Executor EX back in the day. Next up, we have Stoke Charizard. So basically, people slot these into the same deck, but Stoke Charizard obviously going first, very good. Turn 1, place down Charmander. Turn 2, rare candy Charizard, Stoke. Turn 3, start attacking for 150. Extremely strong if we can go into it. So the downside of Stoke Charizard is it does lose to Oricorio pretty badly. Also, if you don't see it on the first, second, or third turn, you're probably not winning the game. So it's one of those decks where you basically play by yourself because you have the 2 Ionos, maybe the 1 Iono, and you either pray to get the Stoke Charizard early. If not, probably losing the game. There are some times where you can win, depending on what version you are playing, but like, yeah, I don't know, dude. It's like you charge up with the rare candy, do 150 damage. That is gonna start one-shotting a lot of things in the meta. And then as you're attacking, you might have another Stoke Charizard that you could set up on in the meantime, or the Incineroar, depending on what version you are playing. Seen some Charizard builds run the Turtonator package as well, but I don't think it's very common. I think most of them are just like either pure Stoke Charizard only, or the Incineroar package, because the Incineroar package can help you defeat Oricorio, although it is still a difficult matchup. But yeah, like I said, it's just very inconsistent sometimes. Like you really need to like see it as soon as possible, and if you don't, you're probably losing the game. Kind of very similar to the other Charizard, which I'm gonna rate, dude. And I'm gonna be honest, I don't care if people say it, this card is still A. People are just not playing it because there's just other options, to be honest. So I've actually played against a couple of genetic Apex Charizards, people playing like 1 Stoke and then 1 Charizard and then like a Moltres focused deck still. And so rare candy does make the deck more consistent because you could like skip the Charmander, or not Charmander, but the Charmeleon line. And it's doing the same thing, dude. It still one-shots things. If you can get a set of Moltres, it's still very strong. It's just more consistent. Obviously, you have more aggressive decks that can punish like and do a lot of damage to Moltres. And you have something like Decidueye, like technically Decidueye like pinging the Charizard can be very deadly, like the Charmander then evolving into the Decidueye starts sniping this thing. But like, it's not bad, dude. I just don't think people are playing it. I expect it to be one of those decks people start gravitating more. So obviously, let's talk about the downsides of just the old Charizard. Similar to Stoke, it does lose to Oricorio, but what EX Pokemon really doesn't, dude. Most of them just do. Unless you're something like Darkrai that actually can't chip damage it, dude. So it's like, of course, Darkrai would have advantage over the card that's supposed to beat the EXs, but yeah. So basically, if you do play Moltres Charizard, you kind of like do hard lose to Oricorio. So that's like the downside, and that's probably why people are not playing it. But like, so does a Stoke Charizard. Even though you have Incineroar, like it's still not a good matchup. Like it's still a rough time because you kind of like have to get the burns to not go away. You're probably gonna need like the lilies. So overall, I don't think it's bad. I just don't think people are playing it, bro. So that's gonna be my hot take for the set. Okay, so next up we have Garchomp EX. So I'm gonna put Garchomp in a similar position to Decidueye. So I think Garchomp is extremely good if you have the rare candy and you can go into it right away because you can do the linear attack for 50. The most common Garchomp deck is going to be the Rampardos engine. So basically 2 Skull Fossils. Some builds only play 2 Rampardos, some plays the 1 Cranidos still with the 2 rare candies. So the downside of the deck, don't get it early, obviously, with the rare candy, can definitely be a problem because you're going to need the Rampardos, which is already inconsistent because it is a fossil, so you can't never search it. And like late game, if you are building up a Gibble in the back and like maybe like sacrificing your active spot Gibble, Garchomp only does 100 damage. Honestly, so like late game it's not going to be too impactful, but I think it's extremely strong. I just think the deck is a little bit inconsistent, and like I think Garchomp with the rare candy, dude, is like an A tier card, but I'm going to give it the you know what, dude, maybe it is an A because you can snipe for 1 energy, so going first is extremely strong. It's funny because Garchomp literally went from like bad. It literally went from bad to being an A tier or even B plus. trying to think. No, I think Garchomp, dude, might be. I don't know. It's like Decidueye's not bad either. So like, do I put Decidueye in A? I don't think I do. Maybe I'll put Charizard. Maybe I'll put the Charizard in a B plus, and then I'm gonna put the Garchomp in A. I just think going first and then being able to do linear attack is extremely strong. Obviously, that doesn't happen like every single game, but the fact that it can happen, I think, is just extremely broken. And then, yeah, that's it, dude. You do kind of like hard lose to like the grass decks if they can get in the Masquerada pretty fast. Same time, you do have Rampardos to take care of that. So like if you can actually like, get in there like Garchomp and Rampardos like pretty early, that is gonna be pretty scary. But I don't know, just linear tactic for 50 rare candy. That is all I'm gonna say, dude. Like that, I think that's just it. Also, Snorlax is very meta relevant now, so Garchomp can one-shot Snorlax actually because Dragon Claw does 120 damage. Well, doesn't one-shot because they have 140 HP, but you basically can like snipe the things in the back as Snorlax is in, and you know, if they attack into like a Rocky Helmet, then you can like knock them out of one hip up. Yeah, I just think it's strong, but I just think it's strong. Next up we have Wishy-Washy. So Wishy-Washy actually did very good at the Frog EX tournaments. So Wishy-Washy max damage can do 150 if you have everything in the bench, like all the Wishy-Washys in the bench, but it is 3 energy and you are playing the Wishy-Washy that like puts the other ones on the bench, so like it's kind of like not going to be doing damage. So Wishy-Washy like hard loses to Oricorio. You might see the deck here and there. It definitely can be a menace if you can get it set up, dude, for 150 damage. Like with a red that's 170, that's gonna knock out most things in the meta. But like I said, hard loses to Oricorio, and you only really attack it with Wishy-Washy EX, and then like the non-EX Wishy-Washy is very easily to get knocked out. So like you basically have like one Wishy-Washy EX to like solo the game. But like it does have a lot of HP, so I will give it that. Like 170 HP is nothing, like nothing that like, it's just extremely strong, bro. Like 170 HP is very nice. Access to Misty, Erica, or not Erica, but Irida. If you can get like a good Misty flip early, bro, and have like those Wishy-Washys and you can start steamrolling, that is probably low-key broken, but technically any water card or Misty is. But yeah, it's just a solid card, dude. It's just unfortunate that it needs so much like requirements to actually be good and like consistent. Okay, so next up we're gonna have Mewtwo EX. So I think Mewtwo EX is definitely a B+ card. Definitely not as strong as it was, just because there are some like meta threats, but especially with the addition of rare candy, you can get things like set up a lot faster, where Mewtwo kind of like wants to take some time to set up, so you can definitely like evolve something and then start like heavily threatening it. But like if you can get like a god setup like Giratina, Lunala, and Mewtwo pretty early and doing that 150 damage definitely can be scary. Also I'm pretty sure this like Mewtwo just did very good at like a tournament. Plus, I mean, Mewtwo Gardevoir, like that's another thing you have to think about. Mewtwo Gardevoir is actually a deck again, definitely not super popular because like I said, I mean, it loses the Dark Giratina still, but you have stage 2, you can go in the Gardevoir very early. You can do the classic genetic Apex or Mythical Island Mewtwo build, start just doing 150 back-to-back with Mewtwo, and that is extremely strong. But if you don't have the Lunala Giratinas, if you don't have the Gardevoirs, the deck is just kind of like too slow in this meta, so I don't think it could be as high as it was last patch, where like everything was more like slow. So next up we have Gallade. I think Gallade is going to be like a mid-tier card. I think Gallade can be better than like this. By the way, I'm just going to put it in mid-tier for now because it's had like one really good placing. In ranked, it's kind of like non-existent, at least in my experience. Like I have personally not placed against this in ranked, but I know competitively in like the tournament side, it is pretty like alright. It had like a really good placing. I think it's like one of those anti-meta calls, and I think in like this type of meta, bro, it's kind of like not doing the best, I would say. But I can see like, because I think more people are just playing Garchomp, because I think Garchomp overall is stronger with the rare candy because you have that access to the bench. But like if something changes in the meta, like I can definitely see Gallade only increasing on this tier list, just because like if you do technically go second, get the rare candy, Gallade basically thrives on your opponent setting something up with a lot of energy, and if you are using the rare candy to go very fast in, your opponent having a lot of energy, unless they have a Giratina in the active spot, is just very not high. So like sometimes you're not going to be doing the damage you're going to be wanting with Gallade. Then you're going to be taking, like, you might be taking some damage on Gallade, and then the thing they are setting up on the bench might just come out and then knock you out as soon as it comes out. So That's like I think Gallade is what like a really good, because you know stage 2 for your only 2 energy, but Gallade is like in a weird position. Like you can get set up fast for rare candy, but you want your opponent to set up some stuff. So it's like it's an awkward position. Like I think it's better. It could be like better by like later on, like if there's like some meta changes. Does lose to Oricorio, but you can't play the Rampardos engine because you're playing the rare candy anyways. So that's the benefit. But it's just like overall not doing like a lot of work. It's just you kind of like seeing it like a little bit in tournaments, and that's about it. Moltres, I'm just gonna put it next to Charizard. You literally only play these. You only play this together. You flip on the Charmander. That's it. So you do see a little bit of Moltres Stoke builds. People kind of dropped that after Oricorio became more popular because, like I said, really nothing you could do against that. And yeah, so it's mainly just played if you're playing the like genetic Apex Charizard, and that's about it. You just flip the coin and set it up. I don't really need to talk. I think we all know what it does. So Blastoise, dude, I think Blastoise is low-key a low tier card, and I actually think Blastoise might be able to go higher on the tier list because I said last season, I said Blastoise felt pretty good like the first week. I never committed though and like tried to play it in a ranked just because I'm like, let me just play like the, you know, the best of the best. Towards the last week, dude, Blastoise was being played. Like, obviously, it was nothing crazy. It was definitely like that anti-meta option just because Giratina and Darkrai were so prevalent. And like, so it was like, you had like time to set it up if you were playing against like the Gyarados and stuff too. I think the addition of the rare candy definitely is super huge for Blastoise because like people don't think about it. Blastoise has a 2 energy attack, so you could technically like go second rare candy in the Blastoise on your second turn, 40 damage, put the third for 160 damage, like that with the 2 and then 3 energy. So I think it's only gotten better with the rare candy, just got more consistent. But overall, like a lot of things are more hyper offensive now with the rare candy. So like you still definitely want to set it up to be able to do the 160 damage. And sometimes your opponent with the rare candy doesn't give you the time, which I'm going to put in low tier. But like low key, I actually could see Blastoise becoming like a meta thing like towards the end of the season, like last time. So I believe it can maybe go higher. Maybe we'll just say like a low tier deck. You're not really seeing it too much, to be honest. You're not really seeing it at all. So I could put it in a Rogue. But I kind of believe in it as an option. I just don't think people are experimenting with the deck. So hot take, I'm going to put it in C. Maybe it is just Rogue. Maybe I should put it in Rogue, but I kind of do believe in it. Like over like the other cards in Rogue. I definitely think it has a higher chance of being like a play deck, like a played deck. I'm going to put an Executor EX, dude. Like, I'm going to put it in mid tier. I kind of want to put it in low tier, but if you do go first, you land the 80 heads. It's extremely strong. The reason I don't think it's that good anymore is because, like I said, rare candy, you do run the like your opponent can just like go with something like very high HP early on, and I mean if you're not landing the hedge, you're not really doing a lot of damage. Also, like no deck is really playing Executor EX. Like the only deck that really plays Executor EX would be like, I don't even know. Yeah, I don't even know. It gets walled off by Oricorio. Meowscarada and the Decidueye are just like far. You know what? I'm gonna put it on low tier, bro. Dude, but then like, it's just nobody's playing it. Like honestly, bro, just nobody's playing it. There's not really a good deck for Executor, so I'm just gonna put it in low tier. Still extremely strong going first, but so is like some other things, dude. Now with the addition of rare candy, so I think it's just kind of like, I think rare candy kind of just like power crept it a little bit because like Charizard rare candy and then something like Garchomp rare candy is just overall better going first, where like Executor used to be the king of going first. It's like no longer is, although it does take less setup. You only need Executor EX, whereas like the other ones you need rare candy and the evolution. No one's just playing it, bro. I'm gonna be real, just no one's playing it. Articuno. So I actually lost to an Articuno the other day on ladder. I'm gonna put a Rogue. No one's really playing Articuno anymore either. You definitely still lose if they Misty Flip, which they Misty Flip me, by the way, surprise. Yeah, it's just one of those decks, you kind of like similar to Executor, but like if you go first, land the heads, extremely strong for Executor, but like Articuno, you land the Misty Flips, and you just start attacking for 80 chip and stuff in the back, and it's extremely powerful. But with the addition of the rare candy, a lot of things can evolve, and then with like lilies and stuff, it's kind of hard for Articuno to do anything if they don't land the Misty sometimes. So like you really are relying on Misty, which is not the best thing to be reliant on. Next up we have Arceus EX. So Arceus EX is being played with Crobat now. It's definitely the best variant because the rare candy lets you go in the Crobat more consistently. Yeah, 160 damage, dude, if you have a full bench and Crobat online. You know, you also can run a red if you really do want to get that 180 damage, which will literally like basically one shot like everything besides like Charizards and like Garchomps if they're full HP with a giant cape. But you're not really playing a Rampoop card anymore, so like sometimes if your opponent goes like aggressive early, plus you know Rampardos is very meta relevant, so it definitely can give Arceus a rough time sometimes. So I think Arceus is strong, but I think being able to do 160 damage with Crobat is extremely strong. But like kind of in the meta, but it's like in a weird spot where like it's still good, but a lot of things actually like threaten just knocking it out. So it's kind of like good if your opponent doesn't get the rare candies, but if your opponent gets the rare candies, and it's like a tough spot, bro, like I said. So I think that's it. Yeah, and actually speaking of a partner for Dalga, bro, I'm gonna be honest, I'm gonna put it in not bad but not played, actually, because if you think about it, no deck is playing Dalga. Dalga is not being played. The only deck that would probably play it is probably Raichu EX, but like even that's not played too much. So like I said, dude, just because these cards are in not bad does not mean they're garbage. They just simply are not played at all almost in these Master Ball ranks. So it's kind of like, yeah, I could say Dialga, bro, is technically like a mid-tier card because it is super good at ramping stuff up. But if it's not ramping up anything that is meta relevant, is it actually good? By itself, I mean 100 damage, bro, is just not that good. It's just really not that good. Like if you're really not ramping up something else with it that is strong, Dialga is just simply not good to play. Next up we have, dude, the former second best deck in the game, Gyarados. So Gyarados, oh, bro, hot take, Gyarados is still mid tier, bro. No one's just playing Gyarados because like rare candy is definitely scary. I think Gyarados is just not being played, dude. I don't know why. Like, I definitely don't think Gyarados is as strong. Like, I don't think it's going to be like a top 5 deck, but I think Gyarados is still, I think it's like, I don't know, man. Actually, let me go check the Gyarados placings just out of curiosity. Okay, I'm looking at all of these. Okay, so it has like it has like these like all right placings, you know, in these like 30-person tournaments. Then I'm looking at like the Pokemon Legends League and it has like 3. Okay, it went like, didn't even, it got like 300, bro, which is like nothing. 400. Okay, you know what, bro? Gyarados might be washed, bro. I'm gonna put him low tier. I'm gonna put him low tier because I don't think he's unplayable. Like low key, I would probably rather play Gyarados than like these cards down here. Maybe I wouldn't though, bro. Maybe it is still a mid tier and it's just not performing because no one's playing the deck. But in concept, bro, I feel like it's a mid tier. You know what, dude? I'm gonna lock in mid tier. I don't care because Galay's technically not performing. If Loki Galay is, dude, honestly, okay, I might need like a B minus, dude. I might need a B minus just for Gyarados. I don't know, like 140 damage, discarding an energy. I feel like it's just, I feel like it's not bad. I do agree though. I don't see anybody playing this. I don't think I've actually ran into a Gyarados at all. But in my mind, I just don't see it being that bad as these cards. But maybe it is. Maybe that's just another hot take by me, dude. But if Gyarados starts climbing back up in the meta, I think. Also, maybe the meta is just too fast for Gyarados. That it simply can't be the #1 reason. Because Manaphy definitely does not like the fact that Snorlax's meta with the berry like getting squashed, dude, pretty early is not good. I don't know. Maybe people just haven't innovated like the new grid. Like I feel like a Gyarados Greninja deck with the rare candy could low-key go hard, but I don't know. I feel like people are just not committing the time to trying it out. So I'm gonna put a B minus, dude, because I kind of believe in it over these, but maybe it might be low tier. Maybe it might be. Okay, no, we have Mew. I'm gonna put Mew honestly in bad because basically there's no real ramp up card in the meta. There's no deck that slots Mew in, and Mew is simply just really not good into like most of these decks. It's just simple as that. Like 3 energy, you could technically slide it into a Lunala deck, I guess, but like you're not really gonna be one-shotting like a lot of these things you're gonna be copying. I guess like Giratina, you know, if they attack you could, but you'd probably just rather play Giratina in your deck. I'm gonna be 100% realistic. Now, if something like this Charizard was played more legit at Apex, you probably would be if you were slotting it into a deck. But it's not. It doesn't really have anything good to copy here. I'm gonna be honest, and that's just simply it. There's no good ramp up. Like there's no, the dog is not meta, so there's really no deck that could just like slot a Mew in. It's as simple as that. Infernape, I'm gonna put a Rogue. Going first kind of sucks even with the rare candy because you know you don't have the energy advantage. And when you attack, you do discard. If Infernape didn't discard energy, probably would be honestly for probably B plus. Discards the energy. So like you discard the energy in a meta that's very kind of like fast paced depending on what deck you are playing against. So that literally is having 2 turns of nothing can you lose you the game. But like going second rare candy, like one-shotting something is nice, but like kind of like depending on what you're one-shotting, it all like depends on that. Palkia probably low tier. Another card that's not really seeing play, similar to like honestly all the water decks are kind of just like not seeing play, bro. I'm gonna be 100% real. And there's a reason for that. Oricorio, man, if he doesn't do damage, all these cards play like one origin form Palkia. If that gets knocked out and all you have left is an Oricorio, you can't beat them. So I'm gonna bet, you know what, dude? I'm gonna change this tier, bro, to the Oricorio effect. Where like Oricorio kind of just ruins these decks. Oricorio like low-key walls them. I think Blastoise, I don't know, man. I'm just gonna do that. I think it's funny. Screw it. Why not? Weavile technically would be Rogue. I just nobody plays it. It's like it's just like kind of like stage 2 Pokemon that does what it does better, bro. I'm actually gonna put it bad. I would actually rather play like any of these cards over Weavile, bro. But it's probably like honestly up here. Beedrill, another mid-tier card that everyone thought was gonna be way better, which I don't think it's super bad. I just think you know like Decidueye kind of came out, and I think Decidueye is like overall just better because it does have that snipe where like yeah the energy is pretty annoying on Beedrill occasionally in like certain matchups, but I think having the access to like the 100 snipe is just overall better. Where on Beedrill definitely can be very disruptive, but yeah, that's it, bro. It's like it's 80 damage, but we have the Decidueye that like snipes also for the 80 for 2, and like I said, discarding an energy definitely is nice in certain scenarios, like especially if it's like a Stoke Charizard brand, like they can't set up that last energy they do need. But you need to get Beedrill set up pretty fast, and kind of like, you know, it's like just one of those decks. White Trio, my boy. Rogue. I actually think White Trio can be solid because a lot of these rare candy decks do exist. The other decks are very annoying for it though, so that's what I'm gonna just put in Rogue. Not really seeing these mana free decks, dude. Oricorio doesn't technically wall it depending on what they are playing because you can actually hit things on the bench. But Oricorio can definitely take some targeting from that and be super obnoxious. So I'm gonna put it in Rogue because I don't think it's I don't care, bro. I don't care. I could see it being a Rogue option. I could see someone like randomly playing it online. Okay, next up we have Crabdominal, bro. I'm gonna put Crabdominal in like a actually I kind of wish I didn't get rid of B minus. Okay, you know what, bro? I'm actually just gonna put Gyarados in like low tier and like Palkia. I'm gonna put B minus for Crabdominal. I don't think it's like super bad, but you know what? I guess Palkia could low-key be B minus. I don't know. I guess these all could be like B minus cards. I don't know. But Crabdominal is basically just an Executor EX that's like better because you attack 40 for 1. So you essentially are an Executor EX that lands the Tells guaranteed first time. But then every time you attack, you do guaranteed 80, which is very nice. You have access to Misty, which you know wouldn't really matter, but like your partner cares about the Misty. You have the Iridos, which is nice. And your pre-evolution is a fighting type, which can do damage to the Oricorio, which is actually cool for this deck. So that is something going for it. What are the downsides of the deck? I mean, you're only doing 80 damage. You kind of want to see it going first, to be honest. Or you probably go first or second. Doesn't really matter. I guess first because you could like do the 40 attack and then do the 80 attack after because you could evolve straight away. But it's not really doing anything super crazy. So I'm gonna put a B minus. I think it's a very solid card. I just don't think it's like anything, like I said, I don't think it's anything broken. I don't think it's anything crazy. Just a better Executor EX. Next up we have Raichu. So Raichu, I'm also going to put B minus, and you might be thinking, bro, nobody is playing Raichu. Nobody's playing Raichu yet. I actually think Raichu is extremely strong. Similar to Mew, to be honest, we don't have a ramp up card, but like it is better, bro, because it actually does damage. Like you don't have to just like copy someone's attack. Like theoretically, can one shot these Stoke Charizards, can one shot these Gyarados if Gyarados was meta. One shots Giratina before energy. Can possibly one shot these Darkrai's if you have like a red or if they took like Rocky helmet damage. No, what am I kidding, bro? It's probably like low tier. It's probably like Rogue. I'd say it's probably like Rogue. The Copium, I want a Raichu to be super good. I do say I think it's Rogue now. You might see it here and there. I do expect Raichu to, I don't know, I expect Raichu to kind of like rise up at least in tournament play. Maybe let's just cope. Lunala, I'm gonna put Lunala as a nice low tier card. Basically you're playing it like Giratina and Mewtwo, but you need the rare candies. You kind of like need the Lunala. You basically need a lot of things set up. Could even be B minus. It probably is B minus. Probably better than these. It's just like a lot of things you kind of need to set up. You need the Giratina like turn 1, you need the Lunala and the rare candy like pretty soon. Then you need like the Mewtwo or like the Tapu Lele or Tapu Fini, whichever one's the psychic one if you are playing that engine. I think it's cool. I just think it's a lot of spots in it because you are going to be playing 6 decks. You're going to be 2 Cosmogs, 2 Lunalas, and the 2 rare candies. So you're basically just making a worse version of Giratina Darkrai. Or like a Giratina, like not like a worse version. Like honestly, Giratina Darkrai is just the best Giratina deck. Lunala does make you like take up these like 6 slots, so you play less support cards for like a different gimmick. It's not bad if you get it online. The problem is it's just not consistent because you need so many things to go right for you. As simple as that. Attacking for 100 is nice. You can be a Sabrina wall if they do Sabrina you because you have 180 HP. Like I said, you can use the Psychic Tapu, transfer all the energy to it, and do a massive bench snipe to something for like 100 plus damage. But yeah, I think overall that is the EX tier list. Let me showcase you guys once again. So we have these uncontested top 2 high tiers. We have the B pluses, which like honestly, like let me just I don't know, dude. Like I feel like I don't know. Even like Mewtwo might be mid tier, but I don't think it is. Maybe it is. Maybe like Mewtwo is like a B mid tier card, but maybe I don't know, dude. Hold up, let me like try to just adjust this everything real quick. I'm really trying to think about this like 100% like honestly. You know what, I think I'm gonna do that. I think I'm just gonna move those guys down the B mid tier, and then I think the list is pretty much set. I think the list is pretty decent. I don't know, I hope you guys like can like understand my thought process for this because this is like the way I think about the game. So I hope like it was kind of like clear. Maybe I'm just yapping, maybe I don't make sense at all, bro, so I am sorry about that, but this is just the way my brain works, and this is just like how I'm thinking about the game personally. Like I legit like I think B plus are the decks like you see the most common, bro, in Master Ball and in tournaments. Then I think like these like B mid tier cards, you do see them, you just don't see them as often. Then you see like these B minus ones like occasionally, a little bit. Like these low tier cards, like probably more stuff can like rise up in the low tier. Maybe even some of these B minuses can be low tiers, but I just feel like some of the B minuses are a little bit stronger than these low tier cards. And then we have these like these rogue options, which are decks that you might see occasionally, which are kind of like more like fan favorite cards, or just like cards that are just all right, but they're not super amazing. So that's why I have them in there. Then we just, like I said, bro, not bad. Doesn't mean you're not going to see these cards at all. It's just that like they're not like they're honestly very rare to see. And like they just have some stuff going, like for example, Tinkaton. Tinkaton's a stage 2 that, you know, technically would get buffed for a candy, but the 3 energy, bro, is the killer. Plus, you know, it's only 80 damage sometimes. So that's the thing about like Tinkaton and Venusaur. Like definitely got buffed because of rare candy, but at the same time, they still need a lot of energy. Plus, you know, they don't do the insane amount of damage you would like on a stage 2. You either want like a stage 2 that's like aggressive, like these Beedrills, Decidueyes, Gallades, or you're gonna want these like stage 2s that are gonna do like a lot of damage to like Stoke Charizard, the other Charizard, and then obviously the bad, like all these cards in bad, bro. I'm not gonna lie, these are just honestly bad. Maybe some more cards could be in the bad category, but I'm gonna give them. I'm not gonna disrespect some of these cards because these cards are just truly bad. Unfortunately, just very poorly designed. Delmize, low-key, Delmize could probably move up. I don't think Delmize probably is as bad as these, but I kind of think he's kind of bad, bro. Anyways, sorry for the later upload. I know I usually like to upload in the morning. School, by the way, we have like 2 weeks left of the semester. Please, I'm almost saved. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed the EX tier list video once again. This is super long, by the way. Thank God I cut out like half of these bad ones because this is, I'm already seeing this is 41 minutes. It's gonna be like a 50-minute video possibly. Anyways, let me know if you agree. Let me know what you would like. Let me know like the different opinions, because like obviously, dude, I'm human. This is just how I think about the game. This is definitely not going to be the 100% correct tier list for competitive and ranked play, because at the end of the day, I might have copium for some cards. You might not have copium. You might have some copium for other cards. I might not have. Like I said, no tier list is perfect. I will say though, I do think my B plus up, I think that is perfect. I will say that, like, that is my one thing I will agree on. Anyways, Let me know in the comments. Peace out and have a lovely day as always. And I truly thank you guys for all the love and support on these recent videos. I love the set. So I'm planning on doing some streams and just, more content because I'm having a lot of fun.